Hello everyone, welcome to Reactify Labs. Today I am going to talk about another design pattern which is mediator pattern. Okay, so first I'm going to write it down. No, mediator space. Oh, sorry, mediator. Why is it doing media for? Mediator pattern. Okay, so before telling you how mediator pattern is used, let me tell you where it is used. Okay, so I have two very classical examples. One is in air traffic management. As far as I know, everybody who talks about mediator pattern gives this example. So I'm also doing the same. Let's say there are many airplanes. Okay, for example, how many airplanes are there? Uh, let's count them: American Airlines, United Airlines, Delta. Um, there is another one called, let's say, Japan Airlines. There is another one called Turkish Airlines. There is another one called Cathay. There is something called Air Canada. There is something called Air India. What else? Emirates, Saudia, Saudia, um, and many more. Okay, and these are not the only airplanes; these are the airlines. Each of them have, let's say, at least, if not more, 100 airplanes. Okay, and they all take off and land at different airports, and the communication between them is quite complex. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about one of the airports. For example, let's talk about San Francisco Airport. San Francisco Airport. Okay, assuming that each day, let's say, 1,000 flights take off and land. Okay, I think the number is more. Let me just Google it. So the number is around 1,300 for 2019. So I was close. 1,000 flights take off and land per day at SFO Airport, San Francisco Airport. Okay. So let's say it's 9 p.m. right now. Okay. And there is a flight called American Airlines. Let's name it Amer 100. Okay. This airplane wants to land at SFO Airport. What will it do? It needs to know first that if the runway is clear for landing. Okay, then how will it do that? It knows that other than this there are 999 more airplanes which take off and land there. Okay, what it can do is it can query them all, that is it your time to land, is it your time to land, is it your time to land. Out of these 999, if when all of them reply that no, it's not our time to land, then it knows that okay, it's a go ahead for me and I can go and land. Let's say its request did not go through to even one of them, only 998 replied. Then what happens? it can still keep waiting that okay, other one will reply, other one will reply. It is possible that other one did not even get the signal, and if this one then assumes that other one does not also want to land, but the other one did not get a signal and it has to land, so both of them are going to land and they may crash. So this is not the right way. This There is a very strong coupling now. Each of these airlines needs to talk to each of the other airlines, and we cannot trust the network, right? Similarly, there is one more system which is very classic example of taxi booking. Okay, earlier, let's say there was no Uber or Lyft. There is no Uber Lyft. Then what happened? At that time, what used to happen was there was a customer, okay, who used to call taxi owner 1. Are you available? He said no. Then he called taxi 2. Are you available? He said no. Then taxi 3. Then taxi, let's say it's a very busy day and 100 taxi owners told him no. Then it's a terrible day for him. Okay. Next time, let's say it's a very non busy day or very normal day. At that time, the taxi owner 1 goes and talks to customer 1. Do you want to go? He says no. Then he talks to customer 2. Do you want to go? He says no. Similarly, 100th customer also says no. So see, it's very troubling for both the customer as well as taxi owner. What the system does is, what Uber or Lyft does is, they there is a system that does this. There is a customer who talks to Uber. Is there any taxi? Uber talks to the other taxis. Are you available? Are you available? Taxi 1, taxi 2, taxi 3, taxi 4. It talks to all the other taxis, and if any of them replies yes, it says yes. Then it says to the customer, yes, T4 is available and it will come to you. Okay. Similarly, if none of them say they are available, Uber will just tell the customer that okay, none of this is available. The customer only needs to ask Uber and nobody else. Similarly, this taxi driver, it's possible that the driver is on leave. Then the driver can just turn off its app and that's it. He does not want to take a ride. And if he wants to take a ride, then what he does is he will turn on his app. It means the driver is available. Now the driver is waiting for the customer. Instead of going to the customer and asking, it's just that he has delegated his work to Uber, that okay, whenever a customer wants to go somewhere, tell me, I am available, I will go. So whenever customer makes a request, it's this person accepts the request and that's it. So it's a win-win situation for both of us. Similarly, in the case of air traffic, what happens is Amer 100 wants to land. What it does is it talks to the ATC, air traffic controller. ATC checks that runways are clear and it's not the time for any other flight to take off or land, so there are no chances of collision or crashing. That's why it can say okay, go ahead, land. Okay. Or let's say there is some other flight lined up to take off or land, then it can say okay, just wait for 10 seconds, wait for 10 minutes in the air and I'll give you a signal. So this is how this ATC controls these traffic. It decoupled, like none of these airplanes are going to talk amongst each other. Okay, all of them will talk to ATC. Whether it is takeoff or landing, they will talk to ATC. ATC will tell them, okay, yes, go. So these are two very important basic classic examples of mediator pattern. And how to know the mediator pattern is going to be used? Whenever you are seeing that there are multiple components involved, and if they are going to talk to each other, they have to talk to each other, they have to exchange information. But if they talk to each other, it's going to be a disaster. So in that case, your job is to decouple their talking by using the mediator pattern. The best example is WhatsApp. Let's say person P1 talks to person P2. Person P1 also talks to person P3. Person P1 also talks to person P4. Then P2 talks to P5. P2 also talks to P6. But P3 also talks to P6. P4 talks to P5. P4 also talks to P1. P3 wants to talk to P1 in another group. Okay. P5 wants to talk to P1 in another group. So in that case, what they do is just P1 will send the message to WhatsApp and says that okay, it wants to talk to P5. It does not need to know how WhatsApp is going to do it. WhatsApp is the mediator here. It is going to take the message of P1 and deliver it to P5. Okay. Similarly for everybody, all of them want to talk to each other, but they don't have any functionality implemented in them. So they are going to talk to WhatsApp, the mediator, that okay, this is what I want to do. I want to talk to somebody, relay my message, and that's what they do. So I hope it is clear where mediator pattern is going to be used. Now I am going to show just by little code, little object oriented code, how it's going to be used. So I'll take the example of this air traffic controller because I think it's a simple example. So let's say there is an airplane class. Okay. And what it can do is it can do a few things like request for takeoff and request for landing. Okay. It can only do two things. And yes, instead just do it like this. Let's make an interface, because then we can assign an object just by using the interface. I'll show you how. So there is an interface of airplane, and they can do things like takeoff and landing, and there may be something called a notify. Okay, these are all the methods. Now let's say there are other airlines which implement this. For example, there is a class of Emirates. Okay, there is a class of American or Alaska. Alaska is small, so I'll write Alaska. There is a class of Delta. Okay, there are different airlines. So all of these implement this request takeoff, request landing, and notify, because it's an interface. They all must implement it. Okay, all of these will have these three things. Okay, now what it does is uh, we have these classes and objects, right? Now whenever they want to call this function, like they want to request a takeoff, so what they are going to do is they need to talk to the ATC also. So we will have a class called ATC. Let's name it first. There will be an interface, ATC, air traffic controller, and there is a class which implements this, which is called ATC tower. Okay, I am taking this example from Geeks for Geeks just for explanation's sake. I hope how we are how the mediator pattern is going to help was clear above. So this is just an example I am copying from there. So please don't tell me I am a cheater or anything. Sorry. So we have an ATC, we have a tower. Okay. When this, like these Emirates and all, they all will have an object of ATC. Okay, and ATC will have an object of airplane. Okay. Now the thing is, we don't know that which airplane is going to request anything. Okay, so just to make it generic, we cannot maintain an object for everyone. Like Emirates, there will be an object for Emirates, there will be an object for Alaska, there will be an object for Delta. No, so what we can do is we can just maintain an object of airplane. Okay, airplane object is airplane. Now whenever we are going to use this, let's say the flow is going to be like Emirates requested for a takeoff. So the request for a takeoff will be called, and its implementation will contain another request for takeoff. For example, I'll write it here. First of all, these all will also have the object of this ATC. So each of these, let's say it has ATC of ATC object. It also has an ATC of ATC. It also has an ATC of ATC. Now when a request takeoff is there, so the implementation is like call the ATC dot request takeoff. Okay, ATC dot request takeoff. That's it. So it means it is whenever Emirates requests for a takeoff, the object of ATC is initialized and ATC dot request takeoff is called. Okay, with what? We will see that later. So it will be called with something here. Okay, what will that be? Let's see the ATC request takeoff implementation of ATC. So here there is an ATC tower. What it does is it will request for a takeoff. Okay, request takeoff. It will have an object of what? Here we have an object of airplane. So it will have an object of airplane. Okay, and whenever an airplane requests for something, it will do some calculations. Okay, do some calculations like if the runway is clear, another flight is landing, anything, and then it is going to notify whom? The airplane. Okay, so it will do like airplane dot notify, and it will notify the airplane. Okay, what it is going to do is it is going to call the notify of airplane. Which airplane? This airplane object which came with the request of request takeoff. Okay, and how do we know that what object came with the request takeoff? So there will be an object here in the parameter which is this pointer. What this does is when we initialize this here, this means now the Emirates object. If the same function was in like delta, then this would have been an object of delta. So here this is an object of Emirates. Then when it comes request takeoff is called for Emirates, then Emirates object is going to notify, like call the notify of Emirates. Now we will see that there is a notify in Emirates which is going to notify Emirates that if it is clear to take off or land, or it is not. Okay, so basically if you see there is an inter connection, or there is an exchange of messages between these. Like first of all, the Emirates talks to ATC, asks ATC for request takeoff, request for takeoff or request for landing. Okay, so this does ATC what? Request landing or request takeoff, whatever. What ATC does is does some calculations. Okay, and then what it does is it notifies to whom? To Emirates again. So it calls its own request for landing, which in turn calls the request for landing of ATC, which performs calculations. Then it calls its own notify, and that notify is going to call the notify of Emirates, which in turn is going to send a message to Emirates, because it is possible that this notify might have an object of Emirates, like some notification service of Emirates. This notify is going to have that, because we know that this airplane object is from Emirates. This notify is going to have that airplane object, and so that it knows that whenever this notify is called, the notification will go to the one which has requested. Since the Emirates had requested here, the notification will go to Emirates. If the Delta had requested, the notification would have gone to Delta. So that's it. I hope this cleared some things about this mediator pattern, and if not, please let me know in comments. I'll try to make another video in detail, or in more detailed manner, try to explain it in by taking some better examples, some different examples. And so with this, that's it. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.